Is Christopher Nolan's new film Oppenheimer a bomb movie, or is it going to bomb? Let's talk about it now. Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watch or Pass, and I'm going to talk to you about Christopher Nolan's new epic film Oppenheimer, which comes to theaters on July 21st, 2023. It is a film about J. Robert Oppenheimer, the kind of director of the Manhattan Project, the project that brought the atomic bomb to America, was used in World War II. You'll find out about in the movie that maybe there were mixed opinions on whether it needed to be used, but the film is about him, his like conflicted life, his brilliance, all of that. It is a biopic, a drama about him. It is a long movie. It is an interesting movie. It is a beautifully shot movie. My hot take is, look, it was kind of between a watch and a rent, but overall, I think I'm pushing it into the watch category. It is a beautiful film. It is a very cinematic film. It is just a really good piece of cinema with a great cast, really good acting, really good writing, but it is a long movie. It is difficult to follow due to some of the narrative choices, and it can be a little overly dramatic at times. It makes it all again tough to follow. But overall, I think you should watch it. It is a powerful film. It is an explosive film. It is one that tells an interesting, conflicted story. So I'm gonna tell you a little about the film, a few things I like, a few things I didn't like. Not really gonna go into like the ending or spoilers because it's a biopic. It's kind of based on Oppenheimer's life. There aren't really that many surprises. There aren't really that many big reveals. So I'm just gonna kind of keep this one spoiler free. Quick, get in, get out, tell you about the movie, and let's keep going. So in Oppenheimer, you have the story of J. Robert Oppenheimer, the kind of director of the Manhattan Project, the person that kind of like spearheaded the creation of the atomic bomb. The film is definitely about Oppenheimer's time working on the Manhattan Project and his early life, but it also goes into aspects that happened after the war, into some of the political implications of the atomic bomb, into his like conflicted life in the limelight. It definitely delves past World War II, which was good and bad in my opinion. But overall, you get a nice long picture of this person and kind of his importance to America and the war effort, as well as his life after that happened. So that being said, things I love about this movie, I kind of already touched on it. The scope. This is a huge movie. It spans a very long time. It spans all sorts of different locations. It spans different time periods. It spans different eras. And you definitely get a sense that this is a, entire life look at Oppenheimer. It starts when he's young and learning. It goes into the Manhattan Project. It goes into time after. It definitely has a nice long timeline. But it's not just the timeline that this film has. You get the kind of the gravitas of the things that they were doing as well. The scope is not just limited to Oppenheimer's life, but kind of the consequences of the things that he helped to develop. Second thing I love, look, the cast. You cannot ask for a better cast. I mean, if you look at the cast in this, it is a phenomenal, phenomenal cast. I mean, Cillian Murphy does a great job as Oppenheimer. You got Emily Blunt, who's really wonderful as Oppenheimer's wife. You've got Matt Damon, Robert Downey Jr., Benny Safdie, Josh Hartnett was really great in this film. I love seeing him. You've got Dane DeHaan, who's one of my personal favorites, even though you don't see him very much anymore. You got Florence Pugh as well. Like, it is just a phenomenal overall cast. And they do a really good job playing these characters, bringing these characters to life, really kind of like telling this story. The third thing I love, look, the music is really, really good. This is a dramatic film. It is definitely a film that has heavy consequences and heavy themes. And the music definitely helps to make that swell. It definitely helps to kind of heighten the drama and heighten the tension when needed. And it does a really good job with that. The fourth thing I love, look, I love the style. This is a really well shot film. It has beautiful scenes, but also has like really kind of dark, muted scenes when things are when some big pivotal moments are happening. And the film is kind of shot in different times, and so they change the way it's shot in some of those times. I think either to help differentiate them from other parts of the film or to maybe give you a little hint about the kind of consequences of what's happening. But the film definitely is a stylistic film, and it's definitely one that kind of like shines through on screen. The fifth thing I love, look, I like the effects. This is definitely a film that doesn't seem to use that many CG effects. It seems to have a lot of practical effects. There's definitely CG, but the CG is well done. It's not distracting. It kind of helps to highlight aspects of the story, or they're just scenes that are completely CG, so you're not really thrown off there. So overall, the effects are fantastic. It seems like there are a lot of practical effects, especially for some of the aspects of Los Alamos, the Los Alamos site, some aspects of the bomb project. There are a lot of really, really good effects that kind of help tell this story. And the last thing I love, look, I like the drama. This is a heavy film that deals with a big subject. It deals with a important, pivotal time in human history, and that definitely shines through in this movie in more ways than one. So all that being said, things I didn't love as much, like I just said, I like the drama, so I'm going to be kind of like a double-edged sword here. Sometimes the film is a little overly dramatic. I think maybe to a little bit to its detriment. Like this is definitely a film that has big themes, but sometimes the drama is almost like in your face. It's kind of overpowering in some of the ways that the story is told, and it makes it kind of tough to follow in those instances. It feels like some of these scenes are very, very overly dramatic. You get kind of like flashes of things in Oppenheimer's life that kind of go on top of each other to kind of heighten some of the, his internal conflict and heighten some of the like tension about what's going on. And that makes those parts of the film feel like they're piling on. It makes it a little distracting. Second thing I didn't love, look, this is a long film. It is a very long film. It is almost 3 hours long. I think it's 2 hours and 50 minutes, 2 hours and 55 minutes with the credits. It spans a long time period, many locations. I said I like that in the scope. I did. But it does feel like this film goes on a little bit too long as well. Like just for context, there is a big pivotal scene about 2 hours in. I was like, oh, that's a great time to end the movie. And then you have another hour left of it. So it is definitely one that you're going to want to sit down, get ready, go to the bathroom before, watch your drink intake because you're in for a ride. And the last thing I didn't love as much, it's also difficult to follow, which is interesting for a historical film. But the way that the story is told, it kind of like jumps back and forth between different times. And I think it's partially to tell the story in a way that has some of the conflicts kind of build at the same time. It also helps to kind of show some of the consequences of some of the decisions that they are making in some parts of the film by kind of previewing that earlier. But that makes it kind of tough to follow the overall story because you're constantly jumping. You're seeing these characters in different contexts. You're seeing these characters sometimes shot differently. Some of the film is in black and white. Some of the film's in color. It jumps back and forth between those. It makes it a little frenzied. It makes it a little tough to follow. It is effective. Like by the end, they kind of like converge into a main point. But while you're watching it, it is tough to follow. It is tough to kind of keep everything straight. I think I would really have to watch it again to kind of really get a full picture of the film. I don't know if I want to watch it again because it's long and tough to follow. And it kind of like speaks extra volumes for me that it was difficult to follow because I just got done listening to a 6-part series on the Manhattan Project from last podcast on the left. So I knew some of the events that were happening. I knew a lot of the players, and it still was tough to follow because of the way that the story was told. So just keep that in mind as well. But that being said, Oppenheimer is a really good film. It's a really good piece of cinema. And overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it did a good job of telling the story. I thought it did a good job of really kind of balancing some of the consequences and kind of amazing achievements of Oppenheimer's life and the kind of conflicted character that he was. So keep all that in mind when you make your decision this weekend. If you're going to see Oppenheimer, if you're going to see Barbie, if you're going to see them both in some sort of crazy psychedelic double feature, but keep that in mind. But that is Oppenheimer. It comes to theaters on July 21st, 2023. It is a long movie, and it also apparently was shot in IMAX. I actually didn't get to see the IMAX version of it, so I can't tell whether or not the IMAX scenes are great or not, but I bet it'll look really good. I bet it'll sound really good too. So thanks so much for watching. If you like this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.